U.S. President Donald Trump has said Washington is reinstating a naval blockade of Iranian ports and will impose a 20% charge on all cargo ships through the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. military also launched more strikes against Iran. Oil prices have surged more than 9% to a one-month high amid concerns over energy shipments through the Strait of Hormuz. The news also weighed heavily on Wall Street as all three major U.S. stock indexes fell, with the tech-heavy Nasdaq leading the losses. South Korean President Lee Jae-myung has pledged to make strategic investments next year, using extra tax revenues generated by the semiconductor sector. The comments come as the country is expected to collect at least 500 trillion Korean won, or roughly $330 billion in tax revenue, and draw up a record-high budget. Hello and thanks for joining us on Arirang News. We begin today with tensions in the Middle East. The United States has resumed strikes against Iran, signaling a return to open conflict. U.S. President Donald Trump also dismissed the ceasefire deal as a test and proposed charging ships to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Our Kim Jun-ho starts us off.
The U.S. military says it resumed strikes against Iran on Monday. In a social media post, U.S. Central Command said it began a third straight night of attacks Monday afternoon local time. According to CNN, the operation targeted Iranian military assets, while Iranian state media later reported explosions in the port city of Bandar Abbas. Speaking to reporters in the Oval Office, U.S. President Donald Trump said the goal was to limit Iran's capabilities related to the Strait of Hormuz.
We are just going forward. We're attacking them tonight. We're taking out all of their capability for anything having to do with the Strait, with the Hormuz Strait.
This comes just hours after Trump signaled more strikes against Iran as hostilities between the two countries resumed last week. During a radio interview, Trump vowed the U.S. would hit Iran very hard that night and again the next day. He also described the Memorandum of Understanding with Iran as a test he would rather have avoided, saying it didn't mean much. Earlier that day, Trump said the U.S. would charge ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz for security. He proposed a fee equal to 20% of each vessel's cargo value. The move reverses his administration's stance just last month that any fees or tolls on the international waterway would violate international law. Meanwhile, the UAE Defense Ministry said Tuesday that 2 tankers were hit by Iranian cruise missiles while transiting the Strait of Hormuz. The announcement came shortly after the U.S. military launched a new wave of strikes on Iran. 1 Indian crew member was killed and 8 others were wounded, 4 of them seriously. Iran is yet to comment on the latest attacks. Kim Jun-ho, Arirang News.
Oil prices surged to a one-month high Monday after the United States announced it would reinstate a naval blockade covering Iran's coastline and ports, raising fresh concerns over energy shipments through the Strait of Hormuz. The move also rattled financial markets, sending Wall Street lower amid renewed tensions between Washington and Tehran. Our Lee Seung-jae has more.
Oil prices surged more than 9% on Monday, reaching their highest levels in a month as renewed fears over energy shipments through the Strait of Hormuz rattled global markets. The sharp rise came after reports that a U.S. naval blockade set to begin Tuesday will cover Iran's entire coastline, ports, and oil terminals, as well as all vessels, regardless of their flag. Brent crude futures for September jumped $7.29, or 9.59%, to settle at $83.30 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures for August rose $6.73, or 9.42%, to $78.14 a barrel. Brent posted its biggest one-day dollar gain since April 2nd and its highest closing level since June 12th. U.S. crude recorded its largest daily increase since April 29th and its highest settlement since June 15th. According to the U.S. Navy-led Joint Maritime Information Center, the blockade is scheduled to be reinstated on July 14th at 8 p.m. UTC, after it was lifted in mid-June. U.S. President Donald Trump said the United States would also collect 20% of the value of all cargo shipped through the Strait of Hormuz, following renewed military exchanges with Iran. The escalation also weighed heavily on Wall Street. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 0.26%, the S&P 500 dropped 0.79%, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq slid 1.55%. 이승재, Arirang News.
And here in South Korea, President Lee Jae-myung has vowed to make strategic investment next year using additional tax revenues generated from the chip sector. Presiding over a finance strategy meeting on Monday, he said the government will create what's called a future response fund. Our Blue House correspondent Yoon Jang-min reports.
27년 예산안이야말로 편성 단계부터 오롯이 우리 정부가 처음으로 그려내는 예산입니다. 대체불가 대한민국이라는 담대한 꿈을 뒷받침하는 그런 방안들을 내년도
That was President Lee Jae-myung on Monday as he presided over a national finance strategy meeting after returning from an overseas trip. Additional tax revenue from the chip sector driven by a global AI boom will be used as what's been dubbed a future response fund.
대규모의 추가 세수를 미래 대응을 위한 전략적인 투자 재원으로 활용하겠다는 말씀을 드립니다. 미래 대응 기금을 신설하여 미래, 청년, 지방, 교육 등 국가의 미래를 좌우할 이 4대 분야에 집중 투자하고
Next year, South Korea is expected to collect at least 500 trillion won, or about $332 billion in taxes, and draw up a record-high budget.
The total spending for 2027 will be set at around 800 trillion won, up 10% from this year. It's a record high. On top of that, we will tighten our belts to create more room for investment.
Park added that the expenditure growth rate will be gradually adjusted from 2028 to manage government debt and improve the fiscal balance. Another area of focus was carrying out the government's 3 mega projects, for which President Lee promised full support in securing power and water as well as related infrastructure.
말씀드렸던 반도체, 피지컬 AI, AI 데이터 센터 이 투자 분야가 기업의 시간표대로 제대로 이루어질 수 있도록 정부 역량을 총동원해서 집중 지원하겠습니다.
The president also vowed to bolster the social safety net with additional support for young people seeking to enter the job market or start a family. Yoon Jung-min, Arirang News.
Samsung Electronics has reclaimed the top spot in the global smartphone market in the second quarter of this year. According to preliminary data released by market research firm Counterpoint Research on Tuesday, Samsung captured a 24% share of the global smartphone market. Data for the previous quarter from Counterpoint showed that Apple had led the market with a 21% share, ahead of Samsung's 20%. The firm attributed Samsung's strong second quarter performance to relatively modest price increases in India and the Middle East, aggressive promotional campaigns, and strong sales of the Galaxy S26 series. Apple ranked second with a 20% market share, while smartphone shipments rose 3% year-over-year. Hyundai Motors' Ioniq 5 has become the third best-selling electric vehicle in the United States in the first half of the year. According to U.S. electric vehicle outlet Inside EVs on Monday, Hyundai sold 20,730 Ioniq 5s during the first 6 months of the year, a 9% increase from a year earlier. That made it the third best-selling EV overall, behind Tesla's Model Y and Model 3 cars, climbing from 5th place in the first half of 2025. Hyundai's strong EV sales growth comes despite a slowdown in the broader U.S. EV market. Extreme heat is sweeping across Europe and the United States, causing wildfires and thousands of excess deaths in Europe. Our Hong Seo-jung explains more.
The heat wave that hit Europe in June caused more than 10,000 excess deaths in 1 week. Data released on Monday by Euromomo, a network backed by the European Center for Disease Prevention and Control and the World Health Organization, More than 10,000 excess deaths were recorded across 27 European Union countries in the week of June 22nd to 28th. Although the data included other factors as well, scientists claim that such mortalities can only be explained by extreme heat. That heat wave saw French highways disrupted due to wildfires and 3 nuclear power plants shut down to avoid the risk of overheating. Tourist hotspots like the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre also shuttered early at 4 p.m. on weekends.
I think a lot of people have been buying air conditioners, fans, and so on. Personally, I keep my blinds closed all day because I get direct sunlight right from the morning.
In Spain, the heat wave has caused the deadliest wildfire in Andalusia in more than 4 decades. Reuters says that the wildfire burned around 7,000 hectares and killed at least 13 people as of Monday.
Much later, we started seeing local police in the middle of town to help people with the wildfire. I didn't receive any notification. I reacted to what I saw.
In Germany, the Robert Koch Institute said more than 5,000 heat-related deaths were recorded as of this year, the majority of which were from June. Almost 100 people died in Germany in June due to drownings. This came after temperatures rose as high as 41.7 degrees Celsius in some areas. The heat wave not only impacted Europe but also the US, with around 100 million people facing extreme temperatures this week. The National Weather Service said dangerous heat is forecast to spread eastward, while the central US is expected to remain under extreme heat through next weekend. Hong Seo-jung, Arirang News.
And it's not just Europe and the United States. Korea is also sweltering under an intense heat wave, with scorching temperatures and tropical nights gripping much of the country. To see how people are coping with the extreme heat, our Park Jun-an went to Gangnam Station.
In Seoul, stepping outside feels like walking into an oven. Korea is grappling with intense heat, with heat wave warnings and advisories issued across most parts of the country. On Monday, daytime highs in Seoul soared to 33 degrees Celsius. But what makes the heat truly unbearable is the humidity. The Korea Meteorological Administration explains that the extreme heat is being driven by 2 powerful high-pressure systems over the Korean peninsula, combined with warm, humid southerly winds. Because of the high humidity, the heat index, which is how hot it actually feels, is pushed up by 1 to 2 degrees, hovering around 33 to 36 degrees Celsius nationwide.
It feels like I can't breathe the moment I step outside. It's so hot that I try to stay indoors as much as possible, and I just keep drinking lots of water.
We live in the desert in Mexico, so it's very dry, but also really, really hot. And here it's just really hot and really humid, so we're like sweating a lot.
The southern city of Daegu saw temperatures skyrocket to 37 degrees. And the heat does not fade even after the sun goes down, leading to widespread tropical nights across the nation. However, help is on the way. A low-pressure system moving in will bring monsoon showers nationwide, starting from Jeju Island. With most areas in Seoul under heatwave warnings, the scorching hot weather may continue until it rains, with showers expected on Tuesday. Park Jun-an, Arirang News.
Young farmers are turning to artificial intelligence for livestock management, using digital devices to monitor animals in real time. And this approach is helping address some of the challenges facing traditional farming, including labor shortages. Our Kim Seo reports.
An ICT device is attached to a dairy cow. It tracks the cow's movement and biometric data, all visible on a smartphone. With data-driven monitoring, farmers can take care of each animal more precisely, improving breeding outcomes and detecting early signs of diseases.
I started using AI cameras with the help of this government-led smart farming project. As the AI system became more advanced, it helped prevent animals' deaths.
As livestock farming shifts from labor-intensive work to data-driven technology, using AI is becoming increasingly common among young farmers.
I want to use smart technology to run my farm better. If the government can help farmers adopt these tools, that would be a big help.
For years, livestock farming has faced chronic challenges, including labor shortages, odor complaints, and disease control. The government says AI and ICT tools can help reduce the workload on farms while improving productivity.
I believe it's meaningful to select leading farms and help them share the technologies they use. The government will do its best to provide the support needed to make our livestock sector smarter.
As AI and data become new tools in livestock farming, attention is now on whether they can offer a meaningful solution to the industry's labor and productivity challenges. Kim Seoyoung, Arirang News.
This is the world now. Yemen's Houthis launched missiles at Saudi Arabia on Monday, breaking a 4-year truce between Saudi Arabia and the Iran-aligned group. Saudi forces reportedly intercepted the missiles targeting the country's southern region. The Houthis said they targeted an airport in Abha, a popular summer destination near the Yemen border. The strikes followed accusations that Saudi Arabia had bombed an airport under Houthi control in Sana'a. Yemen's internationally recognized government said it targeted the Sana'a runway to block an Iranian aircraft from landing. That aircraft later landed at a Houthi-controlled airport on Yemen's Red Sea coast. A separate aircraft belonging to the Red Cross remained held at Sana'a airport, though the organization confirmed its crew and staff were safe. South Carolina's governor has appointed Darlene Graham Nardone, sister of the late Senator Lindsey Graham, to fill his vacant Senate seat. President Trump had publicly recommended Nardone for the role, calling the appointment a fitting tribute to her brother, quote, who loved her dearly. She is expected to be sworn in this week and will hold the seat until January, preserving the Republican Party's 53-47 Senate majority on paper. The absence of Graham and Senator Mitch McConnell leaves Republicans with an effective 51-seat working majority. The Republicans will hold a special primary on August 11th to determine their candidate for South Carolina ahead of the midterms. In Bangladesh, flash floods and landslides have killed at least 51 people. Cox's Bazar, home to the world's largest refugee settlement, accounts for 28 of the confirmed deaths. Thousands of families have lost their homes, including some in the capital Dhaka, where many streets are waterlogged. Authorities have evacuated residents from high-risk zones, but local officials have questioned the effectiveness of Dhaka's drainage infrastructure. Weather forecasters expect conditions in the southeast to improve soon, though monsoon rain in northern regions raises the possibility of further inundation. New Zealand actor Sam Neill, known for his roles in Jurassic Park and The Piano, died on Monday in Sydney at age 78. His family described the death as sudden and unexpected, saying he remained cancer-free after being diagnosed with a rare form of lymphoma in 2023. Neill built a decades-long career spanning arts, films, and Hollywood blockbusters, earning 3 Golden Globe nominations and a knighthood for his contributions to film. Director Steven Spielberg, who cast Neill in the original Jurassic Park, praised their work together and called him unforgettable to fans worldwide. Chu Ji-han, Arirang News.
Even after 3 consecutive tropical nights in Seoul, the extreme heat remains across Korea, with heat wave alerts still in place in many places. And while it's dry for now, rain and gusty winds are on the way as another round of wet weather moves in. So about the rain, it will start in the capital area, then expand across the central regions before reaching Gyeongsang-do provinces by tonight. And northern parts of Gyeonggi-do province could see more than 120 millimeters of downpours, while Chungcheong-do and Jeollado provinces could see 20 to 80 millimeters. And the most intense rain is expected from tonight through early tomorrow morning in central parts of Korea. Then this afternoon, Seoul will be getting up to 32 degrees Celsius. Daegu at 36 degrees, but Gyeongju will be topping out at 37 degrees. The rain will taper off by tomorrow afternoon, but southern regions are expected to see more frequent showers later this week.
Now that's all we have for today's noon edition of Arirang News. Thank you for watching. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Stay tuned.